Good Monday, January 13th, 2025. It's the 13th day of the year, and we're still talking about cold and snow. We've got plenty of that to talk about today, but we've also got something really serious going on the West Coast. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about this. We've had some really bad fires over here. Notice this next weather system that's coming down from the Pacific Northwest. This is going to lead to a big trough here that is going to allow for some Santa Ana winds to poke over those mountains and cause even more extreme fire conditions in Southern California over the next couple of days. The pattern is going to be extremely favorable today for wildfires around Los Angeles, down towards Long Beach, even down past Riverside towards San Diego. We're going to have those intense Santa Ana winds coming in from the northeast, blowing to the south and west, gusting from 50 to 70 miles per hour. We're going to have humidity levels down near 10%, and it's basically a perfect storm for wildfire spread from the Ventura Valley all the way down to the San Bernardino Mountains. And guess what? This is the day one fire outlook with the extremely critical outlook there. Day two, it's still there. And in fact, the critical conditions are going to spread to an even larger area. Day three, Wednesday, we're still going to have critical conditions around Los Angeles. So I think a lot of the fires that were started last week are a little bit more under control right now, which is good news. But if there's even the slightest bit of combustion, if there's a new fire that starts tonight or tomorrow, we do expect major spread again. So just make sure you have an evacuation plan in place if you live down here. If you know people that live down here, I'm sure they're all aware. This has been very well covered by the news, but it's going to be another long week here in Southern California as some big fires are going to be possible. Here's a look at the upper air setup today, and notice once again how as this little system moves down past California, those isobars, the wind gradients, are very obviously coming from the north and east and moving south and west. This is very cold, dry air moving over the mountains. As they go through those canyons, those winds heat up and they become even drier, and that's what kind of sets the stage for the extreme fire conditions that are going to be possible down here. So the winds are going to be blowing extremely fast, very strong, and it's going to be prolonged. Okay, so this is going to take place at least through Wednesday, maybe even a little bit on Thursday, and there is going to be a little bit of relief, I guess, as we get into Friday. So we're just going to hope for the best as we go through the next little bit. There's a PDS red flag warning in effect. This is a particularly dangerous situation. Please have a plan in place to evacuate whenever that time comes. Now, our next thing that we're going to have to talk about pretty much involves everyone else. This is a pretty localized issue down here in Southern California with the fires, but it is extremely critical and serious. But the rest of this video is going to be about this major troughing pattern that's about to set up across the continental United States that is going to lead to one of the coldest Januaries most of us have seen in a very, very long time. So here's a look at our upper air pattern. There's going to be a brief break where some warm air is going to try to sneak into the central United States, even up into the Pacific Northwest. Some parts of Western Canada are even going to see a brief period where we have some temperatures that try to get above the below average anomalies that we've been seeing. But that's not going to last long. Once again, what we're looking at here are the ensemble models. This is the GFS ensembles. And there is incredible confidence that we're going to have this huge lower height anomaly area set up over the continental United States, which is going to allow for extremely cold air to sink down into the central and eastern portions of the United States especially, and it's also going to set the stage for an incredible pattern where storms are going to be able to ride the southern part of this for an extended period of time. I can't even recall the last time we saw such a favorable setup for snowstorms. Now, we've already seen some anomalous snow in the south this year so far. I think we're going to have several more chances of that as we go through the rest of January. But also, I think that this is the kind of setup that's really going to target the Northeast. We have seen a lot of our most famous nor'easters and Northeast blizzards, Appalachian runners and stuff like that with patterns like this. I'm completely sold. Whenever you see the ensemble models showing this so consistently, something is about to happen. And of course, whenever you've got a big troughing pattern like this in place, it is going to lead to below average temperatures, but this is that little spike in warmth that we're all going to get a taste of over the next couple of days. Pretty much this week, Friday could be, nice and warm in southern portions of Minnesota. Iowa, you guys could probably see some areas that are going to be 20 to 30 degrees above average. This will propagate over towards the east a little bit, but it's going to be very fleeting, very brief. Our next big Arctic blast is going to come in around the 19th through the 20th, and the entire United States is going to be below average. And this is going to be a long-lasting cold. Once again, again, we're looking at the ensemble models here. This is not just one run. This is an average of a bunch of different models, still showing a very strong signal for below average temperatures in the southeast, especially all the way back towards January 24th. Let's skip even farther, all the way back towards January 29th, and we still have below average temperatures across the board. The only people that are going to escape this cold snap is probably going to be Maine, southern Florida, Alaska, and Hawaii. Everybody else, get ready. Now, this isn't anything to be afraid of, okay? Sometimes whenever we talk about this kind of stuff, especially whenever it is a big deal like this is not something that we see every winter, okay? Some of the wording can sound a little sensational, but you don't be scared, just be prepared, all right? We know it's coming. You've got a lot of heads up here. This will probably bring about cold enough temperatures to cause a little bit of a problem with the Texas power grid. Prepare for some isolated power outages. I don't think it's going to be a repeat of what we've seen in years past. Be prepared for extremely cold temperatures in the Denver area and pretty much everywhere in the dark blue here. Just get ready for the cold. It's not the end of the world or anything like that, but it is something that we should be preparing for. This is going to be anomalously cold air. This is not your average mid-January stuff, but we're going to be okay. We're going to get through it. And also another thing to keep in mind is whenever we get a big cold pattern like this, I mean, we're bound to get a snowstorm, right? Like the storms keep coming, whether the cold air is there or not. And the way that this is set up, the Climate Prediction Center has this entire area here under a 20 to 40% chance of receiving heavy snow between the time period of January 18th through the 24th. I agree with this, and there's going to be a lot of individual model runs that show massive blizzards that you're going to hear, oh, it's going to be a repeat of 1977. You're going to hear, here comes the superstorm of March 1993 all over again. You'll hear that kind of stuff on social media as some of the models start to catch on to what's about to happen here, but don't fall for it. Any forecast that's trying to tell you something beyond 5 days from now is very unlikely to be correct, especially when we're talking about specific storms. Stuff like this where you cover a large area and say like, okay, there's a slight risk of heavy snow here. That's different. This is just giving us an idea of where we're going to be looking at in the future. But these individual blizzards that are showing up on these model runs that everybody's going to love talking about, don't put too much stock into that until we're about 4 or 5 days away. And then that's when we can really start nailing down the forecasts. But yeah, there's going to be several opportunities through the rest of January for this area right here to see storms. I think at least one of them is going to be a big blizzard. Is it going to be a historic blizzard? I don't know. But it's definitely going to continue to be a very snowy year for a lot of us. And I think most of us in this zone right here haven't even seen half of the snow we're going to see during this season, which is actually kind of crazy if you think about it. There are some parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas here that have seen much more snow than parts of South Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin. This area right here has not seen much snow so far this year, and the upcoming pattern really doesn't favor a lot more snow here. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this corridor right in here continued to see the snowfall as we go through the rest of January. Now, who knows what's going to happen in February and March? That's when the pattern could potentially change to where the troughing's set up more over here, and we see those storms dump snow more in this general vicinity. We don't know yet, but in the near term, Iowa, your snow drought might continue for a little while longer. And by the way, yeah, this is a map that shows how much snow has fallen over the past 30 days. And you can see that we've definitely had a little bit of a southern bias here in January so far. And that's pretty much all the weather I've got to talk to you about today. We're just laying out the groundwork, I guess, for these upcoming storms that we're going to be tracking. There's no individual system to kind of latch onto right now. There's just a large pattern to kind of talk about that will be very different from years past. We've had a lot of mild Januaries over the past decade. This one's not going to be like that. So this is going to be a very snowy, very stormy pattern, and I'm just trying to give everybody a heads up here. So you're not going to hear from me again until we have a more clear signal on an upcoming storm. There's a lot of other people that'll probably post every day about every little thing that pops up on the GFS, and that's fun. But like if today it's forecasted to be sunny in New York City, right? But tomorrow the GFS shows a blizzard, right? And I make a video about this potential blizzard in New York City tomorrow. And then the next day, it's forecasted to be sunny again. Wouldn't the video be more meaningful if I skipped the blizzard? You didn't need to know about that potential blizzard if it's only there on the models for one day. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm going to try to avoid doing daily videos until we have a certain storm to track that needs daily updates. All right. So I'm going to leave y'all alone. Try not to clog your feet up too much until that happens, but it will be soon. We'll get a handle on one of these storms and we'll be right back to daily updates and then eventually live streams again, at least a couple times before we end January. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.